On today's installment of the John Campea Show podcast, Warner Brothers is planning another Matrix movie for reasons. John Bernthal has some bloody pictures of him on set of the brand new Daredevil. Also, Joker 2 put out the first official poster and when we're getting the first trailer. Hint, it's coming at CinemaCon. Also, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is being projected to have a big opening weekend. We're going to discuss those numbers. And according to the major trades and outlets, Disney and Bob Iger have secured enough votes to beat the hell out of Nelson Peltz and the guy holding his leash, Ike Perlmutter. We're going to discuss that and a whole bunch more. The John Campea Show podcast starts right now. Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth when it streams properly. The John Campea Show podcast coming to you from right here in our quaint little studio, brought to you today in part by our friends at Mint Mobile. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea, and it is an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you, our international friends, gather around as we talk about our favorite things in the world, movies and movie news, TV and streaming, and all sorts of good stuff, not just giving you our opinions, but giving you some information and context so you guys can form your own well-informed opinions, whether they're the same or completely different than ours. Joining me in studio today, we've got Ray Ora.
Hey.
Jonathan, what's that? Jonathan Foyko's here.
Where's the top of the dune lid there, buddy?
Writer, director, producer, Robert Meyer Burnett.
I'm happy to be here, John.
And most importantly, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here, making the show part of your day. And here's how the show's going to go. We're going to start off by talking about those topics that I listed off. Then in the second part of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. If you've got a comment, question, thought, opinion, observation that you'd like us to address, go ahead and use the super chat feature to send that in. And as long as it's appropriate to be talked about on our show, we will discuss it in the second half of the show. A little bit of housekeeping here. For those of you who tried to watch the show yesterday, you might have noticed that the whole show did not go up. We had a streaming issue came up. We started the show yesterday. The stream started to lag pretty badly. And we assumed it was our internet provider, which sucks. Our internet provider sucks. But we're suspecting it actually might have been a YouTube issue. And I'm just going to let you guys know today, for those of you who are watching live, if the same thing starts to happen again, we are going to end the stream, but we're going to continue recording the show, and then we'll put the full show up a little bit later. Just to get, just so we can get our ducks in a row here. All right.
Whack.
With that all down, let's get things started here, shall we? With this. Remember The Matrix? Man, that movie came out of nowhere and just blew everybody away. I mean, it was the kind of movie that we hadn't really seen before, and stunning visual effects, great mythology, and a big resurgence for, Keanu Reeves. It was dynamic. Came out with a couple more. And then a couple of years ago, they decided, you know what was great? The Matrix. Let's go do another one. And that didn't do so well. So you'd think they're done. Well, apparently not. Because according to the Hollywood Reporter, Warner Brothers is going to do another Matrix movie. This comes from the folks at the Hollywood Reporter who said this. Warner Brothers is heading back to The Matrix, and this time Drew Goddard is leading the charge. Goddard, the fan favorite writer-director whose credits include The Martian, The Cabin in the Woods, World War Z, has been tapped to write and direct a new Matrix feature for the studio. Now, this will be the first Matrix film not to directly involve the original creators, Lana and Lily Wachowski, and then it goes on to say that Drew came to Warner Brothers with a new idea that we all believe could be an incredible way to continue the Matrix world by both honoring what Lana and Lily had began over 25 years ago and offering a unique perspective based on his own love of the series and characters. So, got a new Matrix movie coming. And if I sound a little skeptical, pessimistic maybe, it might be because nobody wants more Matrix. I know it sounds weird to say that.
Dare you?
But the numbers are the numbers. Let's look at the box office results for The Matrix, shall we? The first one made $467 million, an incredible accomplishment. The next one made, in the same ballpark, $427 million. Then the big concluding chapter took a big jump up at $741 million. Then a couple of years ago, they decided to bring back Resurrections, made $157 million.
Oof.
$157 million bucks. It's like a 70% drop from the opening one. That's not good. Now, to be fair, that movie was ass. Like that, I was so excited for that.
Misunderstood genius.
Yeah, I mean, it's my very technical term. The movie was ass, as they would say in the French. And granted, it was bad, but you can't just blame it on being bad for that low of a number. What that low of a number tells me is that people aren't actually that interested in going back to the Matrix. Everybody loves the Matrix, obviously, but it's clear people didn't want to take the blue pill. They didn't want to go back. Did I get that right? Was it the blue pill? Yeah.
Red keeps you in. I think blue. Or maybe it's the opposite.
I don't know. They didn't want to take the narcotic.
Man, red pilled. It was red pill.
Yeah, red pill.
They
Blue
didn't want to
keep
take
red
the
pilled.
red pill.
We've all been red pilled in the last 25 years, John.
That's right. And they didn't want to take it again. They didn't want to go back. So I'm not really sure. And then, of course, they're not giving plot details, but does this mean Keanu Reeves comes back again? They seem to wrap up his story pretty well. I mean, so... Yeah, listen, I love the Matrix movies. I even like the second one more than most people do.
I do too.
I really like
one of the greatest
Revolution.
car chases ever filmed.
Oh God, and the twins and Seraph and like there's
The Merovingian.
I just think the Merovingian's so good. Not so good in Matrix Resurrections, but the Merovingian. I mean, I thought it was really good. Matrix Reloaded, yeah, kind of came off the rails a bit. Okay, fair enough. But
2 words, Monica Bellucci. Woo-hoo.
oh, but man, I just don't know what the rationale behind this is. Anyway, Rob, you hear about this. Are you surprised to hear they're going to do another one? Good idea, bad idea? What do you think?
You know, John, March 31st, that we just had a couple days ago, was the 25th anniversary of the release of the first Matrix.
Woo.
Its Matrix birthday.
Crazy.
25 years. I would say this. I think the Matrix, as a concept, as an idea, the first Matrix is one of the great surprises in my entire cinematic life. You know, I went to Warner Brothers on the lot to see it because it was at the Steve Ross Theater. Everyone's like, is this going to be like Johnny Mnemonic 2? You know, which was not a good movie. For those of you who don't remember Johnny Mnemonic, there's a reason.
I remember Johnny Mnemonic.
Yeah, and you can now get it in black and white, but on physical media. But so everybody, I remember sitting in that theater, and it was one of the most gobsmacking moments I ever had. Mm-hmm. It blew everybody away. People were like, oh my God, we had no idea what we were about to see. And we walked out of the theater elated, like this is what cinema's for.
Yep.
So I think that the Matrix itself is one of the most, I would dare say, perhaps the way Blade Runner has influenced the look of the future in movies for the last 40 years. The Matrix has influenced ideas and in popular culture and in movies. So here's the thing. The same way that Ryan Coogler had an idea for Creed. You know, he was a Rocky fan, a new budding filmmaker came up with an idea because he loved something. I'll bet Drew Goddard. This is why I'm excited. Drew Goddard has come up with an idea that the studio thought was so good, and he wants to do this out of passion. This is what we want for people that control our IPs. I think that whatever we're going to get is going to blow us away. I think Drew Goddard has earned the right. I love his genre work as a writer and stuff. Cabin in the Woods, you know, The Martian has an incredible script. He did a great job adapting Andy Weir's book. I think that we're going to get something special because it might not be as revelatory as the first Matrix, but I bet it's going to be as good as Creed was for us Rocky fans.
Let's hope it's out of passion and not.
How about that?
And not because of out of unemployment.
Well, no, because I don't think. Look, he's following up, as you pointed out, the Matrix ass.
Yeah.
You know, and if you're going to follow that up,
the Matrix. That's the Matrix.
I mean, I have an affinity for that film. Look, some of my favorite YouTube videos, John, are why Lana Wachowski intentionally made a bad movie on purpose. There's a lot of people with some great theories out there, and I'm like, you might be right, even though I think that's ridiculous. But some good videos. I think that we're going to get something good.
Here's the thing, though. I don't get too excited about a filmmaker being passionate about something because, I mean, go back to the Jeremy Irons Dungeons & Dragons movie. This is the one I just used as an example. That was by one of the world's most passionate Dungeons & Dragons fans ever, was the director of that film.
Was he a good director?
Didn't equate, but yeah, right. So there's that too. I mean, yes, you'd rather hear they're excited about it than not. Was he? By the way, I just realized I'm looking at it. We have in our graphic here, Matrix Revolutions and Matrix Reloaded. We have in opposite order. So obviously, Reloaded came first, and then Revolutions came next. So I just realized I was wrong in the graphic. But at any rate, guys, question is for you: what do you think about this. Maybe you're excited about this. Yes, go back. Try to redeem the mess that was Matrix ass. Or are you more thinking like me? It's like, people clearly don't care about the Matrix anymore. I mean, nobody went to go see the last one. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.
I went and saw it. Opening day in the theater.
I saw it too.
With Polly from Latino Slant. We went. We loved it. Loved it.
All right. With that down, guys, let's move on to this. You know, there was some speculation, some talk going around. You know, we got a new DCEU that James, or a new DCU, I should say. The DCEU is dead. The new DCU's coming, and we were talking about because we got new Batman coming, right? And we've talked about the speculation that's run rampant online that, you know, who would be a good Batman? That dude from Reacher, Aquaman, Blue Mountain Heights, Alan Ritchson. He might be a pretty good one. I mean, I don't know whether or not he could play the role all that great, but man, if you're talking about somebody who was like designed by God to play Batman, it could be Alan Ritchson. Well, he was doing an interview with the Hollywood Reporter, and the topic of Batman came out, and he decided he wasn't going to be coy about it. He straight up just said, I would love to play Batman. This is what comes to us. This is Alan Ritchson saying this. I would love to play Batman, Ritchson said, per the Hollywood Reporter. There, I said it, okay? I watched the interview, by the way. That's how he said it. He goes, I would love to play Batman. There, I said it. I'll shout it from the rooftops. I want to be Bruce Wayne. Here's the thing about Batman, he said. You know what his superpower is? Intelligence. Dude is the smartest superhero there is. He's inventive and he's got all the gadgets, but he's super smart. I want to be that guy. And also to have a cave with like hypercars, sports cars, and awesome motorcycles. I would love to play Batman. There, I said it. I will shout it from the rooftops. I want to be Bruce Wayne.
I mean, so do I, but I mean, that doesn't get you the job.
I mean, what's the saying go? The old saying goes, always be yourself unless you can be Batman.
Right.
In that
Always
case, be Batman. Yeah, like, I mean, of course, we don't want to be Batman, right?
Bruh.
But I got to tell you, when you have somebody who is kind of, look, a lot of people have different theories about who could or should play Batman. I would go out on a limb and say there's probably more people who would say Alan Ritchson than anybody else right now. That's just a guess. I might be off by that, but a hell of a lot of people would love to see that.
He's basically playing Batman in Reacher.
He kind of is.
I mean,
right? Just a poor version.
Yeah.
A vagabond
Well,
hobo
he's
version.
poor by choice. After the end of the last season, he
poor
has
by
all the
choice.
money in the world.
Oh, he could have all the money he wants, but he chooses to live with a toothbrush and a t-shirt. And,
That's
and
right.
the way he goes.
And a bus pass.
But, and now listen here. I believe, and I have no facts to back this up. I'm just saying it's just a fan theory, that James Gunn already has his Batman.
Mm-hmm.
I believe he's got his Batman. I believe he already knows who's going to play the role. But when you have like a perfect storm of the things the fans would really like to see, which is often not what would be good for the movie. Like just because fans want something, oftentimes it's not actually what would be good. But when you get that perfect storm intersecting of something that a lot of the fans would love to see, and then the person themselves is proclaiming, I would love to, like, not just, I would be open. No. I'll shout it from the rooftops. I want to be Bruce Wayne. You got them doing it. And it just so happens to bring that third factor that it would be a pretty good fit. I wonder if James Gunn is hearing this. And if it could move the needle at all. Or if Alan Ritchson is really just kind of trolling us and he's already been cast to play Batman. I don't know. Who knows? X actor and X role. But I would just got to say, I don't think Alan Ritchson, Rob, is the only guy who can play Batman. I believe there are probably a lot of great actors out there who could play a great Batman. But I'm just saying, this is one of those picks that I would be very much in favor of. Anyway, what do you make of what Alan Ritchson's saying?
Based on the comment that he made, I think he's already been cast as Batman.
You think so? You think it's already done?
I think that because, first of all, physically, I mean, you just these images. Ray, did you make those? Was that Boss Logic?
No,
Yeah. Those images of him as Batman are unbelievable. He's tall. He's imposing. He's got the physique. We've already seen him.
Chiseled, square
Yeah, he would look great in
Yeah.
a suit. And it's the comment that he made that got to me. Okay, I'll say it. I want to be Batman. But listen to what he said after that. You know what his superpower is? Intelligence. It's almost as if he had heard, like, if he said, and putting it out there in the Hollywood Reporter, this is classic disinformation. And you put it out there so when he finally, because nobody would ever say anything bad about him being Batman. People are going to say the one thing, oh, can he act? Of course he can, if he's well directed. I think he's already, because that comment about who Batman is a great comment. That's the kind of comment that a publicist would tell an actor to say when you go into an interview. You couldn't say the way that he encapsulated Batman, that he didn't come out and go, yeah, I love him because he's got all these gadgets and everything. He's like, no, his superpower is intelligence. Once you lead with that, of course, he's hired.
Which also is, again, kind of Reacher.
Right. Well, yeah, again, and it's like, the thing is, who else could play, and maybe James Gunn wants to go a different route. I can understand that. But he's also the guy that made sure that John Cena was Peacemaker.
Yeah.
Peacemaker and John Cena's acting, he made that show.
Yeah.
And so James Gunn, more than I think anyone else working in the superhero space, knows how to cast.
Dude, just look at Guardians of the Galaxy and how he cast that.
Why is Gamora?
Yeah, why? Well, and like, seriously, I still going back to when we had him in Pride, like, who would have ever thought chubby Andy from Parks and Rec as Star-Lord? And can anybody imagine Star-Lord now? Aside from him, like Drax, wait a minute, the WWE wrestler, Dave Bautista? You're going to get, wait a minute, you're going to go ahead and get Academy Award nominated Bradley Cooper just to do the voice of a raccoon? I mean, it was just, he is so good with his casting.
So good.
My only concern would be, do we believe him as Bruce Wayne?
Oh, he'd be a great Bruce, because he's
but not just the Bruce Wayne that the public sees. He could do that part, the Playboy. But
that's an act.
Shattered.
You know what? There's an episode in Reacher season 2 where they have to go to a gala opera and they get dressed up in the suits and whatever, and he has to pass it off. And I'm like, and I remember watching it going, I can see Bruce Wayne. I feel like I'm looking at Bruce Wayne. So I mean, I don't know.
Well, you've directed a Batman movie.
That's
you should
true.
know.
Yeah.
I mean,
but
again,
you know, I'm talking about the psyche of Bruce Wayne, not the Playboy that he shows to the public.
I'm just saying, I am not saying that I think he's the only guy to do it. By far, no. I'm not saying that whatsoever. I'm just saying, if tomorrow they announce, James Gunn came out and said, I'd like you all to welcome our new Batman, Alan Ritchson, I'm going to be very happy with it. There are going to be other names I would be happy with too, maybe even more happy, but
Sure.
I'm just saying this would be a good pick.
Yeah, and I think, look, the fact that we're going to see him again in the Ungentlemanly Warfare movie.
Yeah, Ministry of Ungentlemanly. I cannot wait to see him in that.
I mean,
see him and Henry Cavill together.
He's on the rise.
Yeah.
You know, as stars on the rise. And, you know, I watched a video, I think I talked about it last week on the show, where his son threw up in the back of their...
Oh, yeah, you talked about that on the show.
Yeah, and I just looked at this guy and I'm like, this guy deserves to be a Hollywood star.
Yes, he
does. This guy deserves it.
All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Now, of course, a lot of people got excited when they said they were going to be doing a Daredevil series. Some people a little bummed out when they realized it wasn't going to be the true Netflix Daredevil. They were still going to bring in Charlie Cox and they were still going to have Vincent D'Onofrio, but it wasn't going to be the actual Daredevil from the Netflix series. Well, then once they got almost done shooting the entire show, Kevin Feige, having gotten his power back because Bob Chapek was gone, decided, nope, this isn't the direction I want to go. Let's scrap it, and we are going to make it the Netflix one. That's when the floodgates opened, and everybody started worrying, does this mean Foggy can come back? Does this mean Karen can come back? But more than anybody else, does this open the door for John Bernthal to come back as Punisher? Now, of course, we found out a while ago that he is coming back, and we have now got images. First of all, this comes to us from the folks over at Variety, who said this: John Bernthal is back playing Frank Castle, a.k.a. Punisher, on the set of Daredevil Born Again. New set photos from which the character paired up with Charlie Cox's eponymous hero and Soaked in Blood. The Disney Plus series is now filming in New York City. Bernthal debuted as Frank Castle in Netflix's The Punisher series, which aired for 2 seasons and 26 episodes between 2017 and 2019. Actually, he debuted as Frank Castle on Netflix, or on Daredevil. I believe it was Daredevil season 2. Was that where it came in?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, in season 2. At any rate. So now we got some pictures, and there's a couple of really interesting things about them. Let's bring up some of those pictures. First of all, there we got him there with Charlie Cox. They're side by side, and it's hard to tell in this image. He's soaked in blood. He's got a lot of blood on him. Let's see the other one.
you
There's
go.
another one too.
And they kept the skull.
Okay, that's the second interesting point here. Back maybe a year ago, we were talking about, okay, just in theory, if John Bernthal would have come back, it's like maybe they could do Punisher was going to be a difficult thing for Disney to do. But I said, if they do, I don't think you're going to see the skull because there are politics involved. Certain extremist groups have tried to, co-opt the symbolism of the Punisher skull and all that kind of stuff. And I said at the time, I don't think Disney will use the skull. And then to further that, a little bit after that, in the comic books, they changed the Punisher's logo that he has on his chest to something that looked more like the Mandalorian kind of symbol than anything else. I can't remember the exact look of it right now. But I remember thinking, I don't think they'll go back to that original skull. Well, there it is. They decided, you know what? If we're going to do it, let's just do it. And there he is. Now, listen, it wouldn't have made any difference to the show if he was wearing the new Punisher logo that's in the comics. I mean, the dialogue would still be the same. The action would still be the same. The blood on his face, everything would be the same. It wouldn't have made the show any better or worse. And I didn't think they would have the skull. I got to admit, I kind of like seeing the skull.
Oh yeah, dude.
I kind of like seeing the skull that he's wearing there on that shirt. There's an iconography about it that just really works for me. So I'm getting a big kick out of seeing, and now they're just set images. It doesn't mean the show's going to be good, but I'm liking what I'm seeing from these photos, Rob. What did you think about them?
I mean, that one photo we were just looking at with the blood drenched, the skull thing. The Punisher's been around for decades. That's his, in terms of a copyright for a character and what that character looks like. You can't allow ruffians to steal the legacy of, the Punisher's not a nice guy. Garth Ennis' run on the Punisher I loved it. And so to see this, it shows that Disney understands now, you can't pander. You've got to take the core values of what your characters represent, even if those core values might not be what your company represents. You have to be true to the characters as they were created. Otherwise, you're going to cut your own throat, or the Punisher will cut your throat for you. I think it's great what they're doing. I love seeing that Daredevil suit, how red it is. It's not muted. It's really red. I mean, I love that. These pictures, John, have done more to excite me about this show than I think anything else that we've seen or heard.
You know what these pictures have done for me is that, during the whole time they were making the show and it wasn't going to be the same as the Netflix one, even when they said they're changing directions and they're going to restart it again, it is going to be the Netflix one, it never felt like it.
Right.
Now it feels like it. You know what the word I'm going to use right now is, right? The tangibilization.
Yep.
It feels, these images make it feel like that Netflix series again. And so it's going to be really interesting to see how that turns out. Question is for you guys. What do you think about the images? Granted, they're just still images. We're not saying that the show's going to be awesome. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But I really do like the pictures. What do you guys feel about them? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comments below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? I still remember, I think I was at Comic-Con in San Diego when news came out that DC was going to do a Joker movie that was not in the DCEU and wouldn't have Batman. And how many people screamed and hollered, it's never going to work. It's got to be in the DCEU and no one's going to want to watch a Joker movie without Batman and blah, blah, blah. And I had been saying for years, I was dying for either DC or Marvel to have the testicular fortitude to actually come up and say, you know what? Let's tell some stories that aren't connected to the cinematic universe. Let's give some filmmakers the creative freedom to not be bound to the cinematic universe and just tell a great compelling story. And I was thrilled when I heard they were going to do it. And we were all thrilled when we heard Joaquin Phoenix was going to play the role. The Joker comes out, makes $1 billion, which I never would have guessed. Gets nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards. I believe only the second comic book movie in history to do so. Won the Academy Award for Joaquin Phoenix for Best Lead Actor. And even though they had insisted that this Joker movie was a one-off, making $1 billion, winning Oscars, and being nominated for Best Picture tends to loosen up the chains a bit. And shortly afterwards, we heard they were going to do another one. Lady Gaga joined. Well, now we've got our first official poster, and we know when the first trailer is coming. This comes to us from the folks over at GameSpot who wrote this. The first poster for the highly anticipated Joker sequel, Joker Folie à Deux, has arrived, and the debut trailer is coming very soon. The poster depicts Joaquin Phoenix's Joker and Lady Gaga's Harley Quinn dancing with the spotlight shining on them as Joker dips Harley while smoking a cigarette. The tagline for the film appears to be, "The world is a stage. And all of its men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and each man in his time plays many parts." So I'm going to throw that in there. As for the trailer, it's scheduled to arrive on April 9th. And I got to say, I love the poster. I absolutely love it. Jonathan, you got a version of it there that we see the whole thing? I love this poster, especially as a first poster, right? Just be Joker and Harley. And there's something so iconic about the dance, the dip. I even like the design on the titling. The way that Folie à Deux is put in with the Joker words, all that kind of stuff. The world is
I didn't even notice that.
The world is a stage. I just dig that. And by the way, the first audio clip got leaked yesterday with, I can't remember what, it's Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn saying something, "Oh, you can do this, blah, blah." I can't remember the exact line. It ends with, "You Joker," and just ends with that. Absolutely adore this. It's capturing the spirit of what I hope this is. And by the way, the article also confirms that there's going to be 12 musical numbers.
And the kind of music they're going to, all the needle drops they're using?
Yeah.
Like 12. I thought maybe they'd have 1 or 2 musical numbers. Turns out it's going to be more like 12 and all that kind of stuff. Now, something specific about this date. Like, take a look at this again. The World Stage trailer, April 9th. What's special about April 9th? April 9th is CinemaCon, the day that Warner Brothers is doing their presentation at CinemaCon. So clearly they're going to drop this at CinemaCon and then probably later in the evening drop it online. But we're going to get this thing at CinemaCon.
You get to have it on a big screen, though.
Oh, yeah, we're going to get to have it on the big screen, probably with Joaquin Phoenix there in front of us, hanging out and doing it. I'm very, very excited about this. Rob, I got to tell you, even though it makes sense, $1 billion, Academy Awards, all that kind of stuff, I get why they're doing another one. I've never really thought that they should do another one. I'm getting excited about this. I mean, just this image alone has gotten me kind of ramped about it. What do you think about what we've seen?
All in. I'm taking all my chips, John. I'm going all in on this. I've loved this idea from the beginning because here's the thing. How do you follow up that movie? You have to take a 180-degree turn. I know that everybody, I know especially in the fan community, I've heard bitching about musicals from the very beginning that they announced this. I'm like, are you kidding me? Musicals built cinema. I mean, that's one of the things that Hollywood did best when Hollywood was new, you know, as soon as sound came into the picture and all that. This is going to be, look, the madness of two. We'll call it what you want, you know, Folie à Deux. It is the idea of this. When I saw the fact that above the title, which is awesome, the Phoenix Gaga, and then this image, I'm like, what is not to love? I mean, they know exactly what they've got. Todd Phillips knows exactly what he's doing. The first Joker, you know, what's so funny is he gets our trust. He should get our trust. The fact that he's going out on this crazy limb, what encompasses Joker? More than following up a $1 billion grossing movie about a comic book character, than making it a musical with Lady Gaga? That's insane. That's what the Joker would do. That's why we should all be excited. I mean, this movie, the very essence of it, is a great encapsulation of the character. I mean, what are you going to get? Another Joker plots against somebody to take down Batman and ruin Gotham? No, man, give us something that's going to be a banger that people are going to walk out of the theater gobsmacked by.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Joaquin Phoenix has never done a sequel before, right? I don't think he's ever done a sequel. I don't think he's ever done...
Unless his ghost shows up in Gladiator 2.
Yeah, unless we get... I guess we get, like, what was his name there? Commodus?
Commodus.
Unless Commodus pops up, but I don't think he will. Joaquin Phoenix initially said no to doing another one. And then, as the story goes, they showed him the
$1 billion.
story.
Oh.
And then they showed him $1 billion. Cha-ching! And they showed him the script, and he went, okay, yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that. Now, I'm seeing a lot of people in the live chat saying, well, they're doing this because Wonka worked. Well, there's a couple of big differences. Number one, this movie was in production long before Wonka
Way
came
before.
out. Okay? Just remember that. But here's the other big difference, and I'll tell you why this excites me. There's this other paragraph in the article, and it says this. In other news, Variety recently reported that Joker sequel will feature at least 15, I said 12, 15 reinterpretations of popular songs, one of which is That's Entertainment from the 1953 Judy Garland musical, which is perfect. Perfect. The movie could feature original music too. Okay, here's why that kind of excites me a bit. At least 15 reinterpretations. You know what that sounds like to me? That sounds like Moulin Rouge.
That's what I've been thinking the whole time. Moulin
That
Rouge.
sounds like Moulin Rouge.
Yeah.
One of my top, not in my top 10, but in one of my top 20 all-time favorite movies. And if they could do it that way, because Moulin Rouge, any of you guys who have not seen Moulin Rouge, fucking watch Moulin Rouge.
Can.
Oh, do the can. And in the end, do they die? It's so good. Moulin Rouge is so good. But if you can get flavors of that first Joker and flavors of something like Moulin Rouge with a madness of the Joaquin Phoenix and having Lady Gaga singing these things, like if she can give us another Shallows, like she did in To Be Stars Born.
I guarantee you we're going to get something like that.
Oh yeah, we'll probably get something like that.
And John, you know what? The thing about, for our viewers out there, That's Entertainment is a series of documentary celebration films that show the history of Hollywood musicals. Now, I know not a lot of our audience is big on musicals. You're a song and dance man. I mean, you brought me into the Greatest Showman cult.
Woo!
And
Love that movie.
I would say that everybody should go out there and just find the That's Entertainment documentaries, give them a watch, and understand why musicals can be what they can be. And then watch Moulin Rouge and think, what if the Joker and Lady Gaga were in this movie? I think that is a great observation, John. And you just made me that much more excited about what this movie is going to be. Wow.
And I have a feeling we're going to get 10 to 15 minutes of footage of Joker at
I
CinemaCon.
guarantee you will.
I think they're going to give us our first look at actual full scenes. And I just got goosebumps thinking about that.
The nice thing is this thing isn't 2025, 2026. It's October.
It's coming. All right. Guys, with that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Well, a giant ape is currently ruling the box office, but more are on the way. Lest we forget, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, the fourth film in this relaunched franchise, is coming out. What did we say it was? May 10th?
Yes.
May 10th.
May 10th.
They moved it off Furiosa's date.
And now we've got our first glimpse of what they are now, granted, right now it's long range, but long range projections of what they're saying the opening weekend box office will be. And according to Deadline, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is eyeing a $54 to $61 million U.S. opening. Now, to put that into context, when you go back to Rise of the Planet of the Apes in 2011, that movie opened with $54 million. Then Dawn of the Planet of the Apes in 2014 made $72 million on its opening weekend. War for the Planet of the Apes in 2017 made $56 million opening weekend. So we're talking about one that could make anywhere from 55 to 61. It could be the second biggest. Now, I can already hear what a lot of people are saying. John, they projected 55 to 60 for Godzilla versus Kong, and it made 80. So this is going to blow. Look, that did happen, but that is rare. It is rare that movies, like it's maybe 3 times a year that a movie come out and drastically overperform from what the projections are. And maybe the new Planet of the Apes will do that. But for right now, even if it doesn't, that $55 to $61 million opening weekend, well, I think, number one, that would be outstanding. Because this doesn't have the same popcorn appeal that, say, Godzilla X Kong does, right? I think it would have to be looked at as a big win. I think it would be outstanding if it comes out that. And listen, we are still a month away. Like, as we get closer and they start ramping up the marketing even more, we could see those opening weekend projections go even higher. So I think the number they're looking at right now is a good one, though. What do you think about it?
Dude, there's only one thing that kids love more than talking simians, and that's talking simians on horseback with rifles, chasing humans. And I've loved Planet of the Apes since I was a little kid. I saw the first one when I was 5 years old. It changed my life. And this franchise, these 3 rebooted movies, beginning with Rise, I went into Rise of the Planet of the Apes not wanting to like it. I'm like, this movie's going to suck. Boy, was I wrong. If you've never loved an orangutan the way Clint Eastwood does, you will love an orangutan when you see that first Rise of the Planet of the Apes. And I think while War for the Planet of the Apes was slightly disappointing, it had its heart in the right place, and it certainly did not besmirch the franchise at all. These movies are beautifully made. I think that I'm really excited about this because it's another banger coming from Steve Asbell, the president of 20th Century Studios. He's got The First Omen.
Yep, coming out.
He's got this. He's got Alien Romulus coming. And let's face it, Deadpool and Wolverine is kind of the end of the Fox era of X-Men. So that's kind of a Fox movie too. So I'm really excited. I think he told me that they're making this movie for $30 million less than the last one, than War for the Planet of the Apes. And did you see the new IMAX trailer?
No, I have not.
It
I heard
plays.
it's great,
It
though.
starts with an extended scene, terrific scene, by the way, and then it goes into the new trailer stuff. This movie looks great, and for longtime Planet of the Apes fans, I think this movie's going to deliver the goods. I love the feel of it, the idea that that there's a war within the apes to treat humans better. I love that. I think this movie's going to be awesome.
You know what? I even thought for a second, well, with it opening up May 10th, I wonder if they're going to show us this movie at CinemaCon. But the runtime is 2 hours and 25 minutes, and there's nothing.
Is it really?
Yeah.
2 hours. Is that the longest Apes movie?
It makes it the longest Apes movie out of this new batch of Ape movies. Yeah.
No, I think that means it's the longest Apes movie of all.
So we'll see what happens. I am very excited to see it, though. Question is for you guys. What do you think about that? Do you think this new Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes can make that much? They're saying up to $61 million. Maybe you think it's going to exceed it like Godzilla and Kong did. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right. With that down, guys, let's talk about this, shall we? In case you've been under a rock, there is a battle going on for control of the board at Disney. There's an annual Disney shareholders meeting going on, and you have investor Nelson Peltz, who runs the Train company. It's called Train. That's the name of the organization. Now, Train, 72% of Train is owned by Ike Perlmutter. It's like whenever Peltz comes around, if Princess Leia sees Ike, she's like, Ike Perlmutter, I could smell your stench. When it came on board, I was wondering who was holding on to Peltz's leash. So these two guys...
Charming.
Yeah, charming to the last. They've been trying to fight and get control of the board, get a couple of seats on the board, and there's been a big battle going on about who's going to get them and all that kind of stuff. Now, according to the international news organization Reuters, they're saying the battle, pretty much done. This comes to us from them they said the following. Walt Disney Co. has secured enough shareholder votes to defeat the challenge against its board mounted by Nelson Peltz's hedge fund Train Fund Management. People familiar with the matter said on Tuesday. Enough votes had been cast on Tuesday evening to put Disney's board of directors safely ahead of Train's two challengers, Peltz and former Disney chief financial officer Jay Rousseau, the source said. So what happened the other day was, you've had a bunch of people coming out and supporting one or the other. Coming out in support of Bob Iger and Disney has been the largest single shareholder, individual shareholder, George Lucas came out in support. The Disney family came out and supported a lot of that kind of stuff, but it was still within a margin of error. But then yesterday, the single biggest shareholder of Disney company-wise, Vanguard, threw their support behind Bob Iger and Disney. And now the news organization says that pretty much does it. That puts them in the lead. They're going to win this thing. I love that picture. There goes Ike Perlmutter. Ike Perlmutter, who, by the way, once famously said that when they were replacing the actors to play Rhodey, and they were going to get Don Cheadle, and they were pitching Don Cheadle, said, I don't care if it's Don Cheadle. Just get me a black actor. The audience can't tell the difference. That's the guy who's been trying to get control of Disney. And vehemently, this is what's kind of the final straw, was fighting against, he was the CEO of Marvel, and kept holding back a Black Panther movie, saying audiences don't want to see movies with black people. They don't want to see them. Can't work. 2 films and $2.1 billion later, he's choking on that again. He's choking on it. This is very good news. I think most of the people who are shareholders of Disney understood that the company is heading back in the right direction. Now that Bob Iger is back, they're getting things settled again. The prime players, George Lucas, the Disney family, Vanguard, all have rallied behind it. So it looks like this is over. Now, Reuters is quick to point out the official results won't be announced till tomorrow. And there are people who have said they're voting one way who do have time, according to the rules, to change their votes. So a stunner could happen. Like, people could change their votes overnight and maybe it goes a different way. But it looks like right now that Disney has won the battle against Ike Perlmutter and Nelson Peltz. Anyway, Rob, you read about this. You heard about Vanguard coming in and then weighing in. Do you think this settles it, or do you think we could still be in for some drama tomorrow?
You can't fight BlackRock or Vanguard. You can't.
Yeah.
The Vanguard, I mean, basically what people don't understand is Vanguard and BlackRock basically control Earth.
Yeah.
And so if you can't go up once Vanguard or BlackRock, I mean, BlackRock's number one, Vanguard's number two. Sorry if you guys don't, if you want to fight amongst yourselves about that, please don't come after me at late night and extinguish me. But I do think, look, I think this is a good thing. I think it's a distraction. I think Disney needs to get back to their core brand and do what they do best, which is entertaining everyone through various means. And Disney's been a mess. They've been a mess since the pandemic. Bob Iger's second reign has not gone as well as anybody hoped. I think all of this distraction needs to go away, and they need to focus on what Disney has always done best, that they really figured out when The Little Mermaid came out what to do. They spent 2.5 decades or 3 decades being awesome, and now they've been derailed. So let's put that train back on the track so we can go to all the realms in Disneyland and not be distracted.
I think on top of that too, because you're talking about distractions, this whole thing in this special purpose
in Florida,
land in Florida is kind of settled now, and I think a lot of that is able to be put behind them now, and they can move forward. So.
By the way, I also want to bring this up too. Like, since the Bob Iger reign, the first big bunch of it is about damage control from what happened under Bob Chapek's era. And just to point out, like, since Iger took over control, this is year to date. If you want to take a look at this, this is the Disney stock price since Bob Iger took back over. So they have been slowly trying to fix the damage, take out that organizational structure that Bob Chapek put in that nearly destroyed the company, reinvested authority and power back into the creatives like Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige's finally in charge of Marvel again now. And just doing that stuff. And look, we always say this, whenever a new regime takes over, it takes 1.5 to 3 years to really see the results. But when you actually look at what's happening, Disney is heading back in the right direction. Now, when we're going to have to see how do they handle the marketing and get awareness out there for Deadpool and Wolverine, what happens, after that, that's going to be the key things that we're going to have to see. And that's still months away. But I think that's why a lot of the Disney shareholders have backed Disney on this and not gone with Peltz. It's like, yeah, and listen, the one thing that Peltz and Perlmutter will say that I agree with was that the current Disney board botched the succession plan. The current Disney board botched the succession plan and made a huge mistake by installing Bob Chapek. And they said, yeah, it was damaged during the Chapek era, but who put Chapek in that position?
Right.
Y'all did. And on that point, I agree. But I got to say, even I, as critical as I have been of Bob Chapek, you remember when they hired him, I was all for it. On paper, it was a good hire. All the mess at first, well, you can't blame him that he was taking over when a pandemic was shutting everything down. It wasn't until later when he started doing the organizational restructure, moving the power balance, taking away the creative's abilities, all that kind of stuff. So I get that, but I do agree with him on that one point that it was this board's mistake and they've got to have a better succession plan moving forward because Iger's only going to be around for another 1.5 years or so. And they better have somebody really good in place or else we're just going to be right back to square one again. So here's hoping they can do a better job with that. Anyway, question is for you guys. What do you think? It sounds like the battle is done and Peltz and Perlmutter have lost. Maybe a stunner comes out of nowhere tomorrow. I don't know. Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With all those things out of the way, there's a bunch of other stuff going on in the world of entertainment and movie news that we don't have time to make main topics, but we want to touch on them a little bit in other news. So, Jonathan, what do we got up here first?
All right. So everyone knows Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny was a misfire for Disney. The only question is, with a box office of $383 million, how much money did the movie lose? Well, according to newly released financial records and Forbes, the movie lost over $130 million for the studio. At that amount, John, buy or sell this statement, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny was a colossal failure for the studio.
I buy it. That's a true statement. Listen, and I didn't even think the movie was as bad as some other people think it was. I mean, I didn't think it was great, but it had some redeeming value, whatever. But I think it was probably a mistake to make the movie in hindsight. And listen, they lost more money than most movies even cost to make. Think about that. You make a movie for $50 million, the most you can lose is $50 million. They lost more money on this movie than most movies even cost to make. So yeah, do I agree with the statement that the movie, whether you like the movie or not, do I agree with the statement that it was a colossal failure? Yeah, I buy it, Rob.
I buy it too. You know, John, I think that this movie, it had all the elements to try and make it great, except the one thing it was missing was a passionate, great idea that filmmakers really wanted to get behind.
I agree.
It was a movie that was made only for business purposes, and movies are a collision of art and commerce. You have to have the great artists that know what they're making, and then the people that control the money, and they fight. But you need the artists on one end that have the beautiful vision that they're going to bring to the screen. This movie was a shameless cash grab by Lucasfilm and Disney to try and eke out one more movie out of a franchise, and they didn't have the good idea.
All right.
And it was
next?
joyless.
All right. Well, up next, could it be El Guapo that Paramount might actually be sold? Maybe. According to Variety, Paramount and Skydance Media are closing in on establishing a 30-day window for exclusive talks in an effort to come to a decision one way or another after months of discussions. Rob, buy or sell the statement, Paramount Pictures will be sold in the next 2 months.
Buy. I buy it. I buy it because, look, Skydance is the way to go. They've been financing Paramount slate for the better part of the last decade. David Ellison, who runs Skydance, his dad is Larry Ellison, who has more money than God. You know, they don't talk about it much, but he does. I think Skydance is the right move. I just hope that Skydance does more with Star Trek.
I'm actually going to sell it. The statement that I think it'll be sold within the next 2 months. I still think there are some big fundamental issues about the family that owns Paramount right now does not want to chop it up and sell it off into pieces. And I think this has been so contentious right now, and that there are so many other players that are interested that even if Skydance gets an exclusive window, I don't know that it'll close that fast. Look, I think Paramount's going to be sold. I just don't buy that we're within 2 months of that sale happening.
Well, I think even if they do sell, it's going to take a long time for the whole thing to go through.
Sure, but I mean, even come to that principal agreement, I think it's going to be more than that. Hopefully, I hope you're right, because this needs to get done. All right, what's next?
All right, up next. X-Men 97 has been a big hit for Marvel Animation, and even though it's just a few episodes into its first season, Season 2 is already in production. Now, X fans have even more to be excited about, as Marvel has just confirmed that a Season 3 for the animated series has already been greenlit. John, buy or sell Marvel moving forward with Season 3 before Season 1 finishes airing all their episodes?
I love this show, but I sell it. I think they're getting ahead of themselves. I mean, listen, I love the idea that they've already greenlit Season 2. And they've already developed Season 2, and they're going to roll on it. It's very popular right now. I really like what they're doing with that. I'm a fan, okay? Nobody call me a hater. I'm a fan. I just think already greenlighting and putting money and development into a Season 3 when you're not even halfway through Season 1 showing yet, I think that might be them getting ahead of themselves. That's why I sell it. Rob?
I sell it too, John, because I have to tell you, as much as I liked the first 2 episodes, I was really disappointed in episode 3, telling the whole Goblin Queen story in like a half an hour. And why is she a Goblin Queen now? Like, how does that work? Bummer.
All right. What's next?
Okay, according to Variety, Joe Flaherty, the actor, writer, and comedian known for his roles on the Canadian sketch comedy series Second City Television and Freaks and Geeks, died on Monday. He was 82. Flaherty was a writer and performer on SCTV, in which he starred with John Candy, Catherine O'Hara, Martin Short, Dave Thomas, Eugene Levy, and Rick Moranis. John, your thoughts on the passing of Joe Flaherty?
Kind of devastated. Again, listen to that lineup from SCTV. You guys had Saturday Night Live. We had SCTV. John Candy, Catherine O'Hara, Martin Short, Eugene Levy, Rick Moranis, Dave Thomas, Bob and Doug McKenzie. I mean, just it was incredible. And Joe was such a pivotal part of that. You know, for those of you who weren't Canadian, you don't know what SCTV was. It was a fictional television, local television network. And the show, SCTV, was about a fictional television network trying to put out shows. It was, you know what it was a lot like? It was a lot like Weird Al Yankovic's UHF. They're kind of spiritual cousins in a way. And Joe was such a pivotal part, playing Count Floyd.
Yeah.
Remember that character?
Yeah.
And he played the fictional head of the network, Cabanero, I think was the name of the character. He was such a great thing. I used to love SCTV. Obviously, when we lost John Candy, that was a big blow. And now losing Joe, that's a rough one. What are your thoughts on that?
I buy it. It's very sad, but he had a great life. I mean, a great career. I was reminded, somebody put a picture up, or it was mentioned that he played a border guard in Stripes. You know, Ivan.
Oh, I totally forgot that.
And I forgot it because I love Stripes.
Oh, Stripes is so good.
And that whole Ivan Reitman school, you know, coming from Canada and all these guys, because I loved SCTV. I loved Strange Brew. You know, the movie that came out of that. And it was, like you said, and look at Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara. Schitt's Creek comes right out of that whole SCTV tradition. And
Andrea Martin was in there too.
100%. And It's been a comedy legacy for 5 decades.
All right. What's next?
All right. The Dev Patel action film Monkey Man opens in theaters this week, and the box office projections aren't looking particularly strong. According to Deadline, the film is projected to make just $12 to $15 million in its opening weekend, despite a 93% Rotten Tomatoes rating. Rob, do you buy or sell the projection that Monkey Man will make just $12 to $15 million this weekend?
Unfortunately, I have to buy it because where's all the promotion? You know, I think that we know that Jordan Peele made sure that this movie was picked up by Universal, but they probably did it so quickly they didn't have time to put together a great marketing campaign, which is too bad because everyone says it's a banger, John. I can't wait to see this movie.
Yeah, I unfortunately also have to buy it. We're going to go see it tomorrow, and I am stoked. The
Me too.
trailers for this have been incredible. The word of mouth is fantastic, but the reality is it's had a very small marketing campaign. It's a low budget film, right? And honestly, $12 to $15 million for a film that was this inexpensive. And I think it'll have good legs because I think word of mouth is going to go strong. So I hope it makes more than 15 million opening weekend, but with Godzilla X Kong being out there, it's also going to have to be competing against The Omen that comes out at the same time. I unfortunately do think
I'm really excited knowing that The Omen was edited by Bob Murawski, who was Sam Raimi's editor, and that it went back to the ratings board a number of times because they wanted to give it an X. Woohoo!
I earlier this week, or maybe it was last week, I did say I kind of felt like this was going to open like the first John Wick in 2014. In 2014, John Wick opened to 14.5 million. So this puts it right in there.
Put it right on. That's good company to be in. All right. What's next?
Okay, and last up, Ridley Scott's film Napoleon clocked in around 2 hours and 40 minutes, way over Ray's threshold. But the director said he has a 4-hour cut of the film that they will release. Well, apparently that isn't going to happen. According to Joe Blow, Apple said that the director's cut of Napoleon would not be made available anytime soon. John, buy or sell Apple apparently killing the 4-hour cut of Napoleon?
Buy. This was barely watchable at 2.5 hours. I look, and I know there are people out there who liked Napoleon, and I wanted to like Napoleon. You guys remember our reaction to the footage they showed us at CinemaCon last year? Lost my mind. I thought it looked awesome. The movie was so badly edited, so bad, had no pace, no flow to it whatsoever. And you know what? Joaquin Phoenix even hinted that the cut might actually be 4.5 hours long. So the movie itself wasn't all that good. I'm perfectly good with Apple saying, nah, we're not going to go through the circus of putting out the 4-hour director's cut. Rob, what about you?
I buy it too, but I'm very sad because every one of Ridley Scott's director's cuts is better than the original. Kingdom of Heaven. And of course, my beloved, the greatest movie ever made, The Counselor,
Oh, God.
is far better in its longer version.
Oh, God. All right, guys. And that wraps up in other news. We are now going to move on to the most important part of our show, which is hearing from you guys. But before we do, we're going to take a quick second here and thank the sponsor of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, my mobile service provider, and they should be yours, Mint Mobile. Guys, we want to take a moment to thank a sponsor of today's video, Mint Mobile. After years of fine print contracts and getting ripped off by overpriced wireless providers, if we've learned anything, it's that there's always a catch. So when I heard that for a limited time, all Mint Mobile wireless plans are $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan, I thought, what's the catch? But after talking to them, it all made sense. There isn't one. Mint Mobile's secret sauce is that they sell wireless services online. They cut out the cost of retail stores and pass those sweet savings on to you. And guys, you know, ever since I switched over to Mint Mobile, I am spending less than 1/3 on my wireless bills than I used to with one of the major carriers. So say goodbye to your overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping monthly bills, and unexpected overages. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with your existing contacts. So guys, to get this new customer offer and your new 3-month unlimited wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Campea. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions may apply. See Mint Mobile for details. And thank you to our friends at Mint Mobile for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. Dead serious, guys. Go and check them out. Even if you don't think you're in the market for a new cell provider, go check out the link. Go to mintmobile.com/Campea and actually go and check out to see how much money you will save by going with them. And they've been a great sponsor of the John Campea Show for a long time. All right, guys. So that time we're going to move on to your questions. Now, before we do, I just want to put out, I need to apologize for something. So, as I mentioned off the top of today's show, on yesterday's show, we had started the live show, and then things started to go wrong. The stream was sputtering out, and we had a lot of people complaining of a lot of lag. The audio was dropping out. The video was dropping out. Our internet speeds in the office actually turned out were perfectly fine, so we don't know if the issue was our internet or if the issue was YouTube itself having an issue ingesting. Rob himself had some YouTube streaming issues, so it might have been a YouTube issue. We don't know. Now, what the big unfortunate thing about that is some people had already sent in super chats. And for whatever reason, I've had shows go down before, but the super chat log in YouTube has the super chats that came in.
Yeah.
So we went to look because we know super chats came in. We know a few super chats came in yesterday. So after the show went kaput, we went, okay, let's go make sure. I said to Jonathan, I said, let's make sure we go in to the logs. Let's get those super chats that people sent in so we can answer them tomorrow because they sent those in. We need to answer them. They weren't there. They weren't there. Guys, listen. All of you guys are amazing for supporting us just by being here and watching the show and being a part of the show and participating in the live chat. It's really special when some of you actually want to go even beyond that to support our show by sending in tips or using super badges or sending in super chats. It is absolutely unacceptable that some of you in good faith, it wasn't like there was 50 people, there was only a couple, but still, it is absolutely unacceptable that some of you guys blessed us by sending in support and just attaching a little question for us to answer, and we can't even answer it. I am gutted by this. I feel horrible about it. I can't even see who sent in anything because the logs don't show it. And I feel awful about it because we just ripped you off.
Well,
we
Ray
didn't intend to.
Ray
It may not have been our fault, but we ripped you off. For those of you who tried to support us yesterday.
No, it bums us all out. It sucks.
It made us all angry. I may or may not have thrown some things into walls yesterday. But just so you know,
I missed that? Damn it.
I wouldn't
was
exactly
aiming
say
for
you
you,
missed
actually.
it, Bob.
I was aiming for you.
You're just too far.
I am gutted by this. There's nothing more important to me than our viewers' experience watching our show. Even my whole headphone thing was about, I just ruined people's experience watching
That was
our
live
show.
and everyone got to see it.
That was live.
At least
and
they had
everything.
entertainment.
Nothing bothers me more than us screwing up our viewers' experience watching our show, especially those of you who try to support us.
Because that's our engagement.
And yeah,
At least you didn't fall asleep live on a show.
so I just want to apologize. Hopefully something will pop up in the YouTube blogs, and if we do, we will get to it, but I just wanted to say that off the top. So thank you for your patience, and if you're not patient and you're just pissed off at us, I don't blame you. All right, with that down, let's see if we can actually answer the ones that people have sent in today, shall we?
I think we can do that.
Let's
What do
try
we
it.
cut up first?
Nexus Fuel is first up. Are you guys excited for Transformers 1? There's no trailer, but I saw a CinemaCon invite email that it'll be Paramount's panel headliner.
Oh, I didn't see that email yet. I bet if I look at my email.
What will?
Transformers 1, the anime one, Chris Hemsworth is doing the voice of Optimus.
Wow.
And isn't Black Widow doing the voice of RC?
Scarlett Johansson.
Isn't Scarlett Johansson doing the voice? I think it was Scarlett Johansson. Might be.
so.
Listen, I'll be honest with you. When they first announced it at last year's CinemaCon, I wasn't all that excited about it. I'll be honest with you. The 1980s Transformers movies is one of the biggest pet peeve movies of mine in the world. So, but as time has gone on, I'm like, you know what? Maybe I can get into this. Are you excited for this animated film?
I've got the power.
You got the touch.
I'm.
Ding, ding.
I am.
Yeah.
Why not?
It's gonna be so dope. Watch. It's gonna be like imagine Mutant Mayhem, Transformer style.
Yeah.
That sort of.
Okay,
start
quick
art.
question. Quick question. Little trivia. The song in which Hot Rod, who later became Rodimus Prime,
Saint Elmo's Fire.
in the beginning of the film, as they see the ship coming in, driving along the mountainside
Oh,
real
yeah.
fast, they're playing that song, You Got the Touch, You Got the Power. That song is featured prominently in another film. Do you know what that film is?
Come on, man. Dirk Diggler.
There you go.
Boogie Nights.
There you go. Boogie Nights.
And the question is, who sings it? Who are the two actors that duet?
Oh, well, that's...
Well, I mean, it's Mark Wahlberg, but I
Wahlberg and
can't
John
remember who
C.
the other
Reilly.
one was.
John C. Reilly.
It was John C. Reilly.
Yeah.
Very cool. Anyway, all right. What's
If you
next?
guys, by the way, if we have audience members that have not seen Boogie Nights, do yourself a favor.
Oh, so good. It's really like, forget the fact that it's loaded with filthy, which is awesome. It's a really good movie.
It's a really good movie, and
Burt
it just
Reynolds
gets
in
better
that?
over the years. So good.
So good. Julianne
And by the way,
Moore?
Mark Wahlberg is great. Julianne Moore is great.
Oh.
Philip Seymour Hoffman is
Yep.
great. Everybody in that movie is great.
All right.
Don Cheadle's in that movie.
I feel so bad for William H. Macy's character, though. But
Oh, yeah. It's so bad.
All right. What's next?
Amin says, they said Apes was shot almost entirely on location.
On
It-
Earth?
It
Yeah.
it looks that way. I mean,
Yep.
it looks
Totally shot on location.
It was on location
On Earth. On the planet of the
future.
apes. All right. What's next?
All right. With a $50 super chat.
Oh, thank you, Kevin's.
Kevin's comes in hot here. Hey guys, so I mentioned 2 days ago that I am recreating the War Council scene from Dune Part 2. I learned the language and the entire scene. Now I cannot stop speaking it. And then you're gonna make me speak it. Adamre Chiazanta. Okay. Long live the fighters. Love you guys.
It's such a great, it's their Wakanda forever moment, right? Long live the fighters is their Wakanda. Because, like, who doesn't get their blood rushing in any of the Avengers and,
Oh, yeah.
and Black Panther movies when one of them says Wakanda forever, right? It is a great moment. And learning how to say, listen, I adore this movie. I think it's my favorite movie the last 10 years. I will never learn how to speak what they say in it. I can barely say Lisab al-Gaib.
Yeah.
Lisal al-Gaib. I can say Muad'Dib. I know that one. Muad'Dib and Mahdi. I know those ones, but I'd be hard-pressed otherwise. Anyway, Kevin's, thank you again for supporting us on that level, man. This is incredibly generous of you. Thanks a lot, man. All right, what's next?
All right. Jay Loco says, let me scroll down. Jay Loco says, I appreciate how the showrunners keep dressing Lord Toranaga in golden yellowish robes like another recent Hiroyuki Sanada character.
Yeah, a little bit of Scorpion in there. God, this show's so good. I watched the new episode last night. Oh my God, this show is so good. All I'm going to say is it took 9 strikes. This show, listen, I've been saying the upper crust of the best shows in the last 4 or 5 years is House of the Dragon, Last of Us, and Shogun is getting in that conversation. I'm telling you what, if they finish out the way they have started this show, it might exceed those other shows. This is like if Superman was able to challenge his powers into show running, this is the show that would come out of that. Like it's so good. If you are not watching Shogun, you are making bad life choices. Watch Shogun. It's so freaking good.
I'm just so surprised because Shogun has meant so much to me for so long, and to see this new iteration be as good as it is has been so. Again, John, I mean, our entertainment space, we all complain and bitch and moan all the time, but there's a lot of good stuff out there, and there's a lot of good stuff coming.
All right, what's next?
Kevin's is back and says, Godzilla X Kong drops in 2 days where I live. Suplex City, baby.
Suplex City. I mean, it's not, what is the kind that Lesnar did? Was that a German suplex? Is that what he did? Yeah, it's not a German suplex. Like it's a proper, fundamental Tito Santana
technical
suplex.
Bret Hart suplex, right?
Yeah. The excellence of execution. That's Godzilla's new nickname, the excellence of execution. All right, what's next?
Next up, we got John. Hey, John and crew, need your help. I just signed back up for Hulu. Do I start The Bear or watch Shogun?
Oh, okay. So actually taking all
both?
bias out of it, here's why you start with Shogun. Because they're only 7 episodes in. You can, if you got a good long Saturday or a good long Sunday, you can brush those, get them down and put in the bag, because Bear's already done 2 full seasons. So I would get Shogun out of the way. And the reason is, like, we're in between seasons on The Bear right now.
Yeah.
Right? Shogun is all going. So get those episodes down so that then you can pick up and be current with it as the episodes progress. And then in between those episodes, you can get all caught up on The Bear. So that's what I think your best strategy is.
And I would just add that same order, but as a palate cleanser, little heavy, little light, do Only Murders in the Building, like, in between. So you have a
because that's also Hulu show. I forgot about
Ted
that.
Lasso was my palate cleanser for like some of the heavier shows.
That's just the world is a better place kind of show. Ted Lasso. All right, what's next?
All right, we got Predator. Okay, I think it's like Predator and Terminator together. Love hearing John Campea talk about movies. You can hear the love for films in his voice and his enthusiasm on it. Stay awesome, John.
There is a problem though. Sometimes when you really like something, you can get irrational about it. I think sometimes I'm guilty of that. I think all film fans are guilty of that. Yeah, you can't
You're
relate.
pretty rational all the time.
I think,
especially with Star Trek.
but I mean, that's the thing. It's kind of, I know people, there's a lot of people who don't appreciate my frequent comparisons to sports and movies, but I think they're applicable. And fandom is one of those things. Like, there's nobody more annoying about the New York Yankees than people who really love the New York Yankees, right? There's nobody who can be more annoying about Star Wars than people who really love Star Wars. And I think that's a tendency all of us fans, and I'm as guilty of it as anybody. But, you know, it's I remember my mom looking at me a little bit weird when I first mentioned that I quit the law firm and I was just going to do blogging.
Especially at that time, because it was burgeoning. It was
a lot of people had never even heard the word blog, right? And I mean, it was so early. The domain name The Movie Blog was available, and I got it, and it was a little bit weird. But I mean, like, I said this all the time. My earliest childhood memory is my mom showing me Star Wars for the first time, and I think my second next memory is being in the backyard of my house, and I think my mom told me they were making another Star Wars movie, which at that time, sequels was not that was not a normal thing. And like, movies have always kind of been the center. Like, whenever I get together with people, and I'm sure Anne finds this annoying, I immediately turn the conversation towards movies. Have you guys seen this? Have you guys watched this? Ooh, that's so good. You know, it's almost a problem, but it is something I do love. And I think that's something that everybody in this room shares. And it's pretty fun. Like, even today, like, open up the door to the office. And, you know, usually when Rob comes walking in, the very first words exchanged between us is, did you see or did you hear? I mean, that's usually the first thing. And we're talking about movies.
It's true.
Such a big thing. All right. What's next?
We got Raymond Verrado, who says, according to Variety, an Air Supply biopic is in the works for 2025. I know you don't like biopics, but is there a band you'd like to see? U2, Nickelback, Air Supply, really?
I mean, the only
Really?
reason, now, there's a bit of bias because my all-time favorite band is U2. I think they're the greatest band of all time. But the reason I would say yes to seeing a biography about them is that they've actually used their celebrity to try to change the world. They'll actually go around and try to help fund cure diseases and feed people and all that kind of stuff. I think that'd be a very interesting story to tell. Air Supply. I remember when I was in school, I was in grade school, I think, and like one of their big songs, I'm all out of love. I'm so lost without
Great use
you.
of that
Right?
in Blue Beetle too, by the way. That song.
Oh, they did. That's
Yeah.
right. And I still remember because I was young and I was immature and stuff like that. I said it was really weird finding out because I believe both members of Air Supply are gay. And I remember saying at the time, it's like, it kind of changes the song a bit when you realize they were singing it to each other. And that was like weird for me as a kid who hadn't really developed socially yet and really understood what was going on and everything. But understanding that, it could make for a fascinating movie. So maybe. What do you think, Rob?
You know what? There must be a reason. They're not the first band that comes to mind when I think of a startling rock and roll biopic. So
It's like them. It's like them and bread. It's like, okay.
I mean, but there must be now that somebody greenlit this and they're going to make this means that there is a script or a story to tell, and I'm there for it. I am a sucker, even though they're all the same. I am a sucker for musical biopics. I don't know why. I remember I was finishing up editing Tango Shalom, and for whatever reason I turned on the Grateful Dead, the documentary about the Grateful Dead. And I got sucked in and sat there for hours and hours and hours and watched the Grateful Dead. I didn't even love the Grateful Dead.
Yeah, I don't even really like Grateful Dead. And I agree,
but the biopic was great.
Mm-hmm.
By
The
the
whole
way-
documentary was great.
Want to throw this out there?
The Eagles one is good.
Yeah.
You guys remember in other news, we were talking about how that Paramount and Skydance have arranged for an exclusive window to discuss. And Jonathan asked, do we buy or sell that the idea will be sold in the next 2 months? What'd I say? I said, sell. It ain't going to sell within the next 2 months. Bloomberg is reporting that Skydance and Sherry Redstone have reached a deal for Skydance to buy a controlling stake in National Amusements, which is the company that controls Paramount. So
I bought it.
you did.
I bought it.
I sold it.
Proven right on this show.
I sold
On
it.
this show.
I said nope because I was right. It wasn't 2 months. It was 2 minutes. Apparently, took 2 minutes. Look, we'll obviously this. I'm just getting this texted to me. We will double check and get all the information. We'll talk more about it on the show tomorrow.
When you're David Ellison, you got that Larry Ellison. You got Daddy behind you.
You got
With
Daddy
investors,
behind you.
You got everything you need.
All right, what's
Although
next?
I hope they don't make another J.J. Abrams Star Trek movie. That's all I can say.
I really hope Star Trek 4, baby. It's going to be awesome.
No.
Franco says, well, John, I'm turning 41 soon, so I said F it and tried the mozzarella sticks with sour cream situation. Oh, come on. All I can say is, you evil genius.
When you
guys,
try it,
don't feed the...
you
Yeah, man.
realize
Feed the
it.
demon.
And
The three
you-
of us have done it. We filmed ourselves doing it.
No,
yeah,
Or you weren't there.
I've had
Bob.
so many people over the years write in and say, I thought you were crazy, John, when you said that, but I'll never go back. I've had so many people write. Guys, listen to me. The next time you go to Applebee's or Chipotle or whatever, and there's matzo sticks. Sorry, I meant to say Chili's, not Chipotle.
It's like sprinkling flour on bread.
Chipotle does not have mozzarella
That's
sticks.
exactly what it
And you
is.
feel like getting mozzarella sticks? That's great. But instead of the marinara, get a side of sour cream. And you dip those mozzarella sticks in that sour cream. And lo, the erection that you will have. You will have a food boner, my friends. A food boner that
you'll
will
fall
not
asleep.
quickly limp or subside.
Do you dip that boner in the sour cream too? Huh? Get your boner out my sour cream.
Dip it in the sour cream. You'll never go back. It's like the heavens open up and you hear choirs of angelic hosts singing, and you'll be thinking, you'll be thinking, I've wasted so much of my life not doing this right.
It just every time
so good.
I think about it, it reminds me of, hey, here's a perfectly good Krispy Kreme donut. Oh, let's pop it in the fryer. That's all. It just feels like that's not supposed to be right. It's not right. It's not right. Or pop it in the fryer with something else or whatever, because donuts are.
All right, let's keep
get
going.
it,
What's
Ray.
next?
I don't know what I'm saying anymore.
Oscar Herrera says, Kong is Kaiju Moses. Had a blast with the movie.
Kaiju Moses.
Moses, is he pointing the way?
I like that. That's right. We're gonna lead.
I'll take it. Leads people to the promised land.
I like that. That's a nice comparison. All right, what's next?
All right. where do we leave off? Safwat Newman says, I know y'all have a million things to watch, but Marvel's Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur is hilarious if you're up for a quick laugh.
I was actually thinking about watching that the other day.
What?
It's just an animation. You
Oh,
know
it's
what
an
it
Is it on
animated.
Disney
It's
Plus?
like a
Yeah, I've
Disney,
never
like
even
a
heard
kid's-
of it. Yeah.
It looked like a kid's animation.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, no. When
Or
did it
not
come
kids
out?
animation, just an animation.
How old is it? How long? How long has it
I
been
don't know.
around?
I
Couple
just saw
years.
it in my
Like 2 years old.
So it's not okay because it sounds like something would have been 8 or 9 or 10 years old, but it's recent.
Yeah.
yeah. They play like marathons of it, like during certain days.
Who was the network for it?
Disney.
Yeah.
It was on Disney.
It's like
Okay.
the Disney Channel. Or whatever.
Oh, so it's not even Disney Plus. It's like
But it's not like a Marvel thing. Like Marvel,
Well, it
it's
would be
not
there.
MCU. It's not
I don't think so. But it's Marvel.
right.
I don't
But
think
it's not like What If, and it's
no,
not
no,
like
no, no,
okay,
nothing
Yeah,
like that.
because they have Spidey and Friends and all those
Yeah.
other.
right. But it's not the MCU Spidey and everything. Okay. All right. What's next?
All right, we got some support from Jay Pinnix, and then
Thank you, Jay Pinnix.
Yeah, and then Jerry says
Yeri.
says any chance for the Pride sequel in the future?
I would love. You know, it's funny you brought that up. I was just asking. Ray's got.
Oh yeah, I gotta search for those things. I gotta.
I gotta tell you guys. I'm not sure if I can find it here. I'll see if I can. But the Pride, for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, is I wrote a novel. And not because I've ever dreamed of being a novelist or anything like that. It's just that I thought I'd want to try something and do something a little different and tried writing a novel. This is it, by the way, called The Pride. And it took me 5 years to write it because, man, that's a way harder than and I don't even know that I was particularly good at it, but I'm very proud of it. As somebody who's not a novel writer, I'm very proud of what I
Cool
wrote.
cover too.
Even though it's not going to win any awards. What I was stunned by was that we sold out. we ordered a big initial run, sold out. It's now available on demand on Amazon. You can go and buy it on Amazon if you want. But I kept 2 boxes. Bunch of years ago, I got 2 boxes of them. And I thought, I'm going to keep these 2 boxes. And I just asked Ray yesterday, Ray, can you see if you can find those boxes? Because I think I want to do like some giveaways to some of our channel members of the books with me autographing them. And then maybe you love the book. Maybe you tear out the pages and use them for toilet paper when the next pandemic hits. I don't know. But thank you so much. I would love to, but it certainly won't be until after I retire. Because I'm not a novelist. And so it took me a long time to write it. And so I would probably have to wait till after I retire. So if I do another one, it'll be a few years away.
Just put the log line, your idea for a story in ChatGPT, and tell them to write a 500-page book.
Write this book.
Boom.
Boom. All good. All done. Probably better than the one I wrote. All right.
Just say, do it in the style of John Campea.
Do it in the style of John Campea. Every 4th word is filthy.
And mozzarella sticks.
And A. And A. All right. And lots of hockey analogies. All right. What's next?
Not better than Andor.
Raymond is back and says the immortal Keanu Reeves is turning 60 this year.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And then he's gonna go backwards. in
That
age.
dude.
Yeah, Benjamin
He's
Button.
like, if I saw a picture of him recently and he was on stage again playing bass because he plays in a band. I looked at him and I said, I would peg that guy like 45. Dude's 60.
He's a happy dude.
And you know what's impressive about him? He never got jaded by all the stuff. The film industry, and it feels like he stayed true to himself.
It's weird because twice his career went to the crapper and twice he had these big resurgences. And through it all, from every account, he's kind of like Tom Hanks in the sense that everybody just says he's the best guy.
And also, he's done a really good job of keeping his business life and his personal life completely.
You never hear it.
Yeah, I mean, and you know that he's got, like, I saw something of his, he's got a really impressive motorcycle collection.
Oh yeah.
By the way-
that's one of his businesses.
Yeah, it's
so.
his-
Got to
he
throw
makes-
this out there. Good Canadian kid.
Yeah.
Just got to throw that out there. All right.
You know
what's
what
next?
else? I got to put this out there. Matrix Resurrections. Yeah.
Yeah, it was good, huh, Rob?
Yeah.
I liked it.
You didn't like Matrix Resurrections.
The last one?
Yeah,
very
the
last
newest one?
Yeah, I liked
You
it.
did?
Yeah, that's what me and Rob are.
Okay.
I didn't think it
Simpatico.
was bad at
The
all.
All
Poly
of them was
Latino slant.
subjective?
We're the 3.
Yeah.
All right. What's next? Somebody in live chat said Keanu isn't Canadian. He's Buddhist.
Walter White Walker says, anyone else get Bass Rankin Hobbit vibes from Branagh's Blue Eye Samurai performance?
Yeah. Yes. I remember thinking that. Very. Man, listen, I might have to go back and do another watch of Blue Eyed Samurai.
It's so good. Japan wins our internet. Between Shogun and Blue Eye Samurai, let's go live in the Tokugawa era.
It's so good. I am very nervous about it though, because of the way season 1 ends. It looks like they're going to London, and I think it was London, right? Yeah, they're going to London, and it's like I don't want to see this story in anywhere other than Japan.
I know.
want to see it in Japan. I don't know. Maybe they'll have a great idea, but I loved season 1.
Can't they just bring that era back? Because I want to go become one. I want to go become a samurai.
Actually, that's you don't live long.
Yeah,
you
I
don't
know.
live long.
Not to
But
mention,
you live honorably.
like if the enemies don't kill you, you might do something stupid and kill yourself. So, you dishonored people. So
All right, what's next?
Kyle McComb says, caught The Outsiders in theaters last night. Wow. Well, first watch since 8th grade English class. I watched that in school too. The young A-list actor was crazy excited for a
Wait, are
couple
we
of
talking
years.
about the Patrick
Yeah.
Swayze?
Yeah, man. Matt Dillon, C. Thomas Howell, Ralph Macchio,
Yeah, oh my God, that's
Diane Lane,
Did you say Rob Lowe? Rob Lowe.
Rob
Rob Lowe was
Lowe,
in there
The
too.
soda-
Emilio Estevez,
That goes.
Tom Cruise.
It was like
way-
it was the
that's
birth
right.
of
Young
the Brat
Tom Cruise
Pack.
is in that too.
Bertha-
Yeah.
And I have the complete novel on 4K.
But I mean, you're right. It is kind of it's kind of like the SCTV thing. Like you look back at that movie, like they were
They're just all there.
they were not no names,
Right.
but they were not the stars.
You know how
that
old
they
that movie
became,
is?
right?
42 years old.
Very cool. All right, what's next?
We got Jamel, attorney, who says, I watch wrestling and I'm loving Dwayne right now as a heel. Do you think that he will play a villain anytime soon? I guess in like movies, he means.
You know what? I don't think he will.
Yeah, me either.
You know, it goes back to that Once Upon a Time in Hollywood thing where they talk about, once they see you as the bad guy, I don't know that I agree with that, but there is something to that. And I don't know that Dwayne Johnson will do that. Now, unlike, say, Vin Diesel or some other actors, or like Steven Seagal used to do, where they write it in their contract, the bad guy can never land a punch on me.
And I have
win
to
every
sit
fight.
down the entire fight.
Dwayne lets himself get beat up in the fights sometimes
Right.
to make it look like a good fight. But I don't think he'll have himself be the bad guy. I listen, he was at his best, even back in the Attitude Era, when he was a heel. Whether he was the corporate champion or whether he was whatever, whether he was in the Nation of Domination and usurping, was it Farouk? That he
Oh,
took
yeah,
over? Yeah, he took over the nation from Farouk, backstabbed Farouk. I mean, he's at his best when he's a heel in wrestling, but I think he'll stay the hero in movies. All right, what's next?
Okay, Juliana Goodwin says, why do you think the Weinstein Company didn't sell their collection to another studio after Harvey fell? I want a re-release Dogma DVD, damn it. Bring on the filthy.
Yeah, Ann and I went to go see An Evening with Kevin Smith a few weeks ago. And he talked a lot about that he said, look, out of all of his movies, the one he'd really love to do is Dogma. He would love to do another Dogma, but it's still owned by Harvey Weinstein. And they won't give it up. And I mean, I don't know why they don't sell them off or whatever. Maybe they think that they'll be worth more someday or whatever.
He might be
but
so bitter that he's holding on, but he
yeah, it
doesn't
could just
have-
be bitterness. You
I
know
think
what?
he's at the end of his life. He's looking terrible. So.
Kevin Smith made a really neat observation. It's like, by holding onto those, he still has a perception of having clout and power in the
Yeah.
Right.
industry.
I
The
think once
English
he's-
Patient.
And
Where's
as
that?
long as he has those rights, and as long as he holds certain, because it's not just Kevin Smith's, as long as he holds the rights to a lot of them, he still considers himself a player.
Mm-hmm.
In a way, he's not wrong, but I mean, anybody rational would sell them off, take the money from it. But no, he wants to still be considered a Hollywood mogul, I guess. All right, what's next?
Hollywood. Walter Whitewalker says, Judgment Night was a bad movie. The soundtrack was pretty groundbreaking, though. Great collabs. You have any similar examples? Bad film, great soundtrack?
A lot of movies, bad
Yeah.
films, the great soundtracks. By the way, is that the one with who's the guy who played Gwen Stacy's dad in Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man?
Dennis Leary.
Yeah, that was the one with Dennis Leary, right?
That's Trespass. Judgment
Judgment
Night's
Night.
Emilio Estevez.
Yeah.
When they take a wrong turn.
Yes, you're right. I had that.
I
one.
think.
Let me look.
Am I wrong? I could be
Like
wrong.
I thought it was the one where they had the RV and
That's Judgment Night. Maybe Dennis Leary's. Maybe I'm wrong about Trespass.
1993.
right.
Emilio,
Yeah, you're right.
Emilio.
Emilio Estevez, yeah.
But it's Dennis Leary in that.
Well, I'm going to look it up.
He's looking.
Steven
that's-
Dorff,
that's-
Dennis Leary,
Okay, so-
Cuba Gooding
okay.
Jr.,
And what was it
Both
called?
right.
Judgment.
and Jeremy Piven.
Okay, so we were both right. Yeah, that is Judgment Night. It's like you saying, "Oh, Star Wars, that's the one with Harrison Ford," and I say, "No, it's the one. No, it's the one with Mark Hamill."
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So there we go. Wow, that's a throwback. Okay. The first movie that comes to mind for me that's a bad movie. Look, I'm saying it's a bad movie because it is, but I love it. That had a great soundtrack. Mortal Kombat.
Oh yeah,
Mortal Kombat's soundtrack
yeah.
is baller. Can still listen to that soundtrack. It's so good. And I love the movie, but it is really bad. But I love it nonetheless. You got one that's a terrible movie with a great soundtrack?
I was thinking, I was going to say Less Than Zero, but Less Than Zero isn't a terrible movie. It's a terrible adaptation of Brady Easton Ellis's novel, but it's not a terrible movie. But it has like the Bangles version of Hazy Shade of Winter, stuff like that.
All I've got in my head now, because I was talking about Mortal Kombat, there's a song in the Mortal Kombat called Juke Joint Jezebel.
Oh, yeah, that's a great song.
Juke Joint Jezebel's coming. Oh, it's such a good tune. Du Hast is such a good tune. That whole soundtrack is just filled with bangers. I love that soundtrack. Anyway, okay, sorry. What's next?
Jamel says, John, a group of me and my friends went to the Matrix and we fell asleep at some point. In the Matrix?
Like the original Matrix or Matrix Resurrections?
I don't
It has
really
to be
know.
Matrix Resurrection.
Has to be Matrix. There's no way you fell asleep in the first Matrix. I mean, look, all films subjective. Maybe it bored you to death, but I'm going to guess that you mean Matrix Resurrections. Man, they just did such a bad job on that movie. I just look at him like, how did anybody greenlight this? I just don't get it. All right, what's next?
The Wrestling Hound says, I'd rather see Alan R. as MCU Eddie Brock Venom. I feel like he would be a better fit for MCU Venom than Batman.
Here's the thing, though. Nobody cares about Eddie Brock. People care about Venom.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not going to see Eddie Brock. You're not going to see Alan Ritchson as Venom.
Yeah, unless they pull that Spider-Man 3 thing where they just pull back every time he wants to talk.
Yeah,
I hated that.
So I don't know.
Yes.
I mean, look, here's the thing. Would I be happy if I heard tomorrow they cast him as that? Yes. I think Batman's the better fit for him, but I would be down for that one as well, I think. All right.
I don't know. I think he's great. He'd be a great Batman.
Yeah. All right, what's
All
next?
right, Walter's back and says Godzilla X Kong needed a scowling Affleck on the streets of Rio.
Seeing all the destruction and like vowing vengeance
Before he
on
gets
these
stomped on?
titans.
Yeah, that's about it. Bye.
Yep. What? Mothra, why did you say that name? Yeah, I can see it. I can totally see it. All right, what's next?
Patrick Hamilton says the fights in the last Matrix were nowhere near what they were in the previous movies. Seems like a watered down version.
And by the way, as much as I dislike the movie, the fights weren't bad. Actually, some of the fights were pretty good. They paled in comparison to the fights in the original one. And just the story was just, it's like, why do they have to go there when they could just do this? For reasons. Don't worry about it. Like, I like that whole movie. I don't know if the guy did a version of Matrix Resurrection pitch meeting or not. You know, the guy online,
I
a
think
Canadian
they did.
guy, by the way.
They might have.
Who does those. I don't know if he did one for Matrix Resurrections or not, but that whole movie just feels like one long pitch meeting video from that guy. It's like, it's just so ridiculous. And what they do with the Merovingian in it, and like, oh.
I know.
All right,
And
what's
there's
next?
no Monica Bellucci.
Okay, we're going to move on to our members now. Mr. Hank Dunn says Bills traded Diggs to the Texans. Absolutely ridiculous.
Okay, as of this morning, I read a report that an insider is saying that trade was happening. I haven't heard if it's official or not. It might be. A trade is a trade. Doesn't matter who you're trading. It's all about what you get in return. The problem is, what I had heard was all they were getting for Diggs was a second round pick. If you're Buffalo and you're trading Diggs for a second round pick, then you got fleeced. You got absolutely fleeced. And if you're the owner of the Buffalo Bills, you fire the general manager. It's fine. You want to trade Diggs? Trade Diggs. Get value. Get equivalent value. A second round pick for a Pro Bowl game-changing wide receiver? Are you kidding me? Anyway, sorry. I'm not going to go on about that too much. All right, what's next?
Hosea says, "You're right, John. True Lies is the best action comedy ever. The
my
whole
favorite.
cast, The whole cast top to bottom is so good. I showed my 13-year-old the movie and he loved it. He couldn't stop laughing at the "you're fired" line. Another movie that I wish had a sequel.
I often talk about like ranking the funniest moments in movies ever. One of the funniest movies in any movie ever, not quite Spaceballs, Now You See That Evil Always Triumph, and not quite Where the White Women At, both Mel Brooks, by the way. But who's the guy who was the Schwarzenegger's buddy?
Oh,
Tom Arnold.
Tom Arnold.
Yeah.
When Tom Arnold and Arnold Schwarzenegger are looking at the surveillance camera in Arnold Schwarzenegger's living room, and he sees his own daughter stealing money out of his wallet. And Tom Arnold says to Schwarzenegger about his daughter, "You know what she's stealing the money for, right? Probably an abortion." I just about die every time I've never been a fan of Tom Arnold. I don't think he's good in anything else, but he's so good. He's so good in True Lies. Oh, God, I love that movie so much.
It's great.
All right, what's next?
Joe Hallen says, "You all right, Ray?" Joe Hallen says, "Hey, John and crew, how are you guys today? Well, I wanted to thank you guys for doing the show. It keeps me informed, entertained. Do you know if Arnold will make another Predator movie?"
No chance. No chance. And like the reality too is, and I don't like that this is reality, and you can tell me if you think I'm wrong about this, people don't run out to see Arnold in the movies.
Right.
Like I remember his first movie back after being governor. He made that movie about the car. He was a sheriff in a little town, and the car, there's that super fast car that was coming through, and he knew these gangsters were coming. He was going to defend the town. I think Johnny Knoxville.
Yeah, Knoxville. It was
And the girl from what's her name? Something Rodriguez. She was in
Michelle Rodriguez.
Not Michelle Rodriguez. She was in the
And I gotta pull it up.
what's the cartoon superhero movie? Something 5, Big Hero 6.
Oh, yeah, right.
She was one of the voices in Big Hero 6. Anyway, and that was actually a pretty good little movie. I can't remember the name of it. If anybody remembers the name of the movie,
I'm trying to find it right now.
yeah, look.
And
Up.
it was directed by the Korean director.
Yes, it was.
Someone's saying The Last
Called The Last Stand.
Yeah.
That's what it was called. Thank you, Scott. It was called The
thank you,
Last
Scott.
Stand.
Take my place.
That was actually a good little movie. Not one of Schwarzenegger's greatest. But
Right.
it was a good little movie. I had fun with it. And it was his first movie back after being governor. Nobody went to go see it. And then they thought having him back in the Terminator movies is going to really... Crickets.
King Conan, man.
I mean, I'd be down for King Conan. And look, he's still in
Yeah.
better shape than any of us will ever be. But, I mean...
wearing the crown upon his furrowed brow.
Yeah, I mean, like I said in the
Pearl
beginning,
Brow.
when you see him at the
Yeah.
end of Conan as King Conan, he
Yep.
could do that.
But that's for another time.
Forrest Whitaker's in it,
It is a
too?
time of high adventure.
All right, what's next?
Stand.
I keep going to that one. Hoser Maya says Punisher photos return for Born Again, and Tom Holland's Spider-Man was supposed to fight Ezekiel from Madam Web. Is that like a rumor?
I doubt that there's any truth to that. I don't think there's any.
He dodged
No
the
one's gonna be
bullet.
What do you
fighting
mean by
anyone
it's
from Madam
supposed
Web.
to? Like some writer somewhere had the idea. That doesn't mean it was supposed to happen. But I mean, yeah. Listen, there's always. Oh, and by the way, Joel K in the live chat pointed out Rodriguez is Genesis Rodriguez, and she is awesome. I've got a great video. I'll tell you about the video with me and Genesis Rodriguez sometime. But anyway, so she's
sounds
so
so
fun.
wrong.
She is so fun. But anyway, now I'm thinking about the thing that happened with me and Genesis Rodriguez. I can't remember the question. What were we talking about?
I don't know.
I got distracted.
Well, Ezekiel fight in Madam Web fighting Tom Holland.
Oh yeah, I doubt that was ever. I don't think that was ever really going to happen. I at least I doubt it. I don't know that for a fact, but I really doubt it. All right, what's next?
All right, CJ Rebirth says I'm loving Shogun on Hulu. The third episode is probably my most favorite one so far, and every time Mariko is on screen, my heart skips a beat.
Man, look, she's very good in Monarch. She's very good in Monarch. She just takes it up a level in this. Like, she is so good in this. And yeah, episode 3 is great, but I just find the show gets better and better and better. And the ending of this newest episode is not quite the canon's ending of episode 3, but is a very what the F kind of ending to this episode.
She's my dream girl.
Oh, Mariko. Oh yeah, she's just so good. And
Is
it's
she, Rob?
oh, I don't want to spoil anything, but
Is she, Rob?
She is.
is she? All right,
is.
what's next?
JCC says, had he lived, Marlon Brando would be celebrating his 100th birthday today. Favorite performance of his?
Streetcar Named Desire, and obviously The Godfather. I mean,
Yeah.
The reason I said A Streetcar Named Desire first is because, like, obviously everybody's going to say Godfather,
Yeah.
but that is the role that that he became, that everybody remembers him by, right? And didn't he win an Academy Award? Did he win, or was he just nominated for that?
I don't know.
I can't remember.
He might have won.
I know at least he was
I
nominated.
mean, I also liked him in things like The Wild One, of course, Last Tango in Paris.
And of course, Superman.
I'll go
Superman.
with
I have
On the Waterfront for me.
Yeah, On the Waterfront.
I have 3 6-scale figures of Marlon Brando, including one as Jor-El.
Really? That'd be nice. All right, what's next?
All right.
4. I have a Wild One too. I realized Hot Toys made one. Wow! Wow!
Man, you got it. You got him. Esteban Reyes says, just saw Lord of the Rings for the first time. What a watch.
Nice.
Can't get over how Aragorn holds his sword up before a fight, almost like he's praying. Good stuff. Well, it's.
Listen, I'm not saying that the Lord of the Rings films are the greatest films of all time. I think that's the Star Wars trilogy, the original Star. But I don't know that there's another film or set of films that I so regularly watch annually as Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm.
Like we don't set it to clock just like not every May. No. But at least once a year, Ann and I will go, it's almost time for our rewatch of Lord of the Rings. It's just one of those things. It's truly, and Lord of the Rings: Return of the King, I still think is one of the greatest feats and accomplishments in filmmaking history. They are movies that still hold up. They are glorious and wonderful, and all the changes. Like, first of all, you're drawing on some of the best source material ever that Peter Jackson still made a lot of changes to, and all of his changes kind of elevated the material. It was just we could talk all day about Lord of the Rings, right? I mean, it's just one of those things. And I'm jealous you got to watch it for the first time, because we'll never be able to watch it for the first time again. But you did.
I enjoy watching these reaction channels where they watch movies. You do the watch-alongs for specific movies like the Lord of the Rings trilogy and stuff. I get a kick out of it.
I still, every once in a while, because they come up in my YouTube feed, I'll still watch old reaction videos to Game of Thrones. Whether it's...
Yeah.
I watched that bar one, the Boston bar.
Oh, yeah, that one. That's
Chicago,
a great
or wherever
one.
it is. Yeah.
It's called The Something. I can't remember what it's called. Isn't the name of the bar, but and it's not just the Red Wedding ones. Like, some of the best ones are when the trial of Littlefinger.
Yeah.
It's
The
like,
Battle of the Bastards.
How do you plead?
Yeah.
Lord Baelish.
Yeah. You know what? I rewatch that one scene every time where that actor's like, you see his eyes flicker.
He's so good.
They literally flicker as if he's another person. It's so minute. It's crazy.
You know what the other really good one to watch if you want to look up some reactions? The reactions from, it wasn't the finale. It might have been the finale or the second last episode when Arya kills the Night King. Like, watch the reaction, including the one in that bar where, like, when they see, like, you see a White Walker and their hair, like something like Batman's coming or something, right? And then out of the mist and shadow, Arya's jumping through the air, and you hear everybody in the bar going, "Ah!" And then Night King catches her, and like, everybody goes dead silent. And then she pulls that move from earlier seasons where she drops the blade, grabs it with the other one, and like, "Ah!" And
I think
everybody
you guys are talking about Sean Tank Top.
A what?
Sean Tank Top. That's the one who actually is the bar owner.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Watching some of the old Game of Thrones reactions are so good. They're so
You
good.
can't go wrong. Battle of the Bastards.
Oh, yeah. And that one's, just such good. Or some of my favorites. What was the name of the lady again who actually was the one who killed Joffrey?
Oh, yeah.
The grandmother.
The grandmother.
Diana Rigg.
That,
Lady
there are videos
Tell
on
Cersei
YouTube that are just like all the greatest burns
Right.
of that character.
Tell Cersei it was me. I want her to know.
And I could, it was me. It's like, boom. And like there are videos out there, just all of her greatest burn lines. She's amazing. I gotta do, you know what? Anna and I were just hanging out with some friends of ours, and they're watching Game of Thrones for the first time. And they're into up season 3. I think I might have to go back and do a rewatch of it. Now I'm watching all these reaction videos. I'm getting hungry to go watch it again. Oh, but then we got House of the Dragon coming back, so maybe that'll scratch the itch. All right, let's take like 2 more.
All right. Pukey McFisty says, gonna try this one again. Just wanted to let you all know that Peacock released a documentary on Monday about Bray Wyatt. And it was fantastic. A great watch even for non-wrestling fans. Bring on the Pukey.
That was a COVID complication, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Bray Wyatt.
I mean, he had a heart attack, I think.
But it was a result of like
Medication.
other problems that came as a result of COVID or something like that. I mean, this is a guy who was like getting ready to take over the wrestling world. He had a massive fan base. I loved, what was the name of his, it was still Bray Wyatt, but when he was like the swamp guy.
Oh, yeah.
The guy from the
Bray
swamps
Wyatt.
with the family and all that kind of
And
stuff.
then he
That was a direct play off of True Detective
Right.
at the time, but like he was, and he came from wrestling royalty. His father was Mike Rotundo, also known as IRS. And then just out of nowhere, I mean, I guess if you knew him and you were following closely his health struggles, I guess it wasn't that odd, but for a lot of us, it was just out of nowhere, he just passed away. I'd be interested in seeing that documentary.
I hated it because he had 2 runs before he came back this last time where I absolutely thought it was time for him to beat John Cena at WrestleMania. He lost. Whoever was in charge back then who called the shots, they should have let him fly because he
Did
would
you
have
come
been.
to WrestleMania with us when we went to see WrestleMania in San Francisco?
Yeah.
Because he had fought the Undertaker at that one.
No.
didn't he?
They never had that rivalry, which is what
Well,
sucked.
who did he fight at that WrestleMania?
There was he's only had feuds, I believe, with
I'm almost positive it was Undertaker.
Are
he
you
fought.
sure? Did he fight?
Because Sting fought Triple H, John Cena fought Rusev.
Oh no! I'm talking about the Fiend version of Bray Wyatt.
Oh, no, I'm talking about the classic.
Oh,
Bray
okay.
Wyatt.
They
Michael says Undertaker.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was That's right.
Okay. I was
What are
talking
we
about the
talking about?
Fiend version.
Yeah.
I don't know, I
Anyway, you're
tuned
right.
out.
Let's move on.
I tuned
What's
out.
next? Last question of the day.
Okay, Jodo Works says Highlander is one of my favorite movies ever. I have confidence we'll see this mythology done right in the new franchise. I know you can't reveal your secret cast knowledge, but maybe a little hint.
Nope.
There you go.
Nope. But I have been informed, and I think I told you guys. Did I not?
You didn't tell me.
No, I didn't tell you. I was specifically told not to. I was not. Don't tell Rob. That's not what they said.
Oh, they should have, because I have a big mouth.
They just
Don't
said,
ever tell me stuff like that.
They just said you could tell Ray and Jonathan, and I think I told them. And I think they're great choices. I think they are great choices, and I am very excited about it all finally coming out. All right, guys, and that'll do it for today's fully streamed episode of the John Campea Show podcast. Thank you so much. Unless the stream actually went out and Jonathan just didn't want to see me Hulk out again.
Yeah, I've just been sitting here the whole time. I'm like, yeah, this ain't going up.
Thank you so much for being here, making the show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in those questions, whether you're our beloved channel members or you use the super chat feature. Number one, because you gave us fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported our channel as you did it, and all of us involved with the show. Thank you guys so very much for your support. I want to thank the people in the room with me, Ray Ora,
See you tomorrow.
Jonathan Voico,
See ya.
writer, director, producer, Robert Meyer Burnett.
First Omen, baby.
My name's John Campea, and until next time, my friends, bye-bye.